Hi folks, Lauren here with another video. Now, you might remember that my last video was a call to action to Gen Zers to work on getting rid of the Electoral College so that we can elect our presidents with a one-person, one-vote system in which the candidate who gets the most votes is always declared the winner. Well, here's a really important reason why that's important. You see, it has to do with the Supreme Court. As you may know, the president appoints the justices of the Supreme Court. And as you may also know, after being confirmed by the Senate, once they get on the court, they're on it for life. For life. Yeah, it's the same Supreme Court that 9 years ago in 2013, in its Shelby County versus Holder decision, essentially obliterated the Voting Rights Act, the act that protects us all from the dangerous and illegal voter suppression activities that are rampant today. The same Supreme Court that 2 years ago, in 2022, in its Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization decision, took away a woman's right to make her own private reproductive choices. And yes, the same Supreme Court that in July, less than 3 months ago, in its Trump versus the United States decision, gave the president full immunity from prosecution for criminal acts that he or she commits, quote, as part of their presidential duties, unquote. All of those things, each and every one of them, is an absolute and serious threat to our democracy. And I could list a number of other decisions that the current court has made that also unconditionally threaten a democracy, a free society. Now, how does the Electoral College issue, the subject of my last video, fit in with the Supreme Court, the issue that I'm discussing in this video? Well, as I've said, and as many of you may know, the president appoints the Supreme Court justices. But if the president isn't elected by the majority of American voters, we're in the position of potentially having justices sit on the Supreme Court for life who were appointed by presidents who were not elected by the majority of American voters. Justices who make huge decisions that impact our freedom for decades. They're people who are put on the court by presidents who were elected by the minority, not by the majority of American voters. Case in point, our current court. A total of 9 justices sit on the Supreme Court, and 3 of them, that's right, a full third of the court, were appointed by Donald Trump. Donald Trump, who got almost 3 million fewer votes than Hillary Clinton. Now, in fairness, it is true that Donald Trump couldn't have done that by himself. Senate Republicans, under the leadership of McConnell, blatantly cheated to give Donald Trump 2 of those 3 appointments. But the bottom line is that he got them. I won't explain here the details of exactly how they cheated. You can look that up. Everything's researchable on the internet, right? So if you're curious, research the questions: how were Republicans able to confirm Neil Gorsuch to the Supreme Court? And how were Republicans able to confirm Amy Coney Barrett to the Supreme Court? If you do, you'll see that it was unquestionably cheating that got both of them on the court. So the bottom line, friends, is that a president who is not democratically elected in a one-person, one-vote system can have an enormous and devastating impact on our lives, on our very freedom, and for a very long time. So that's the connection between the Electoral College and the Supreme Court. The court should be comprised of members who were appointed by presidents who were elected by the majority of American voters. Plain, simple, fair. Full stop. Finally, my friends, think about this. Just as ours is the only democracy in which the candidate who gets the most votes can lose the election, we're also the only democracy with the Supreme Court appointment system that we have. In an August 27th interview, Tom Rogers, co-author of the book Supreme Concerns About the Supreme Court, in referring to some of the court's most recent anti-democratic rulings, said that, quote, most democracies do not have entrenched courts that have the ability to be that out of step with public sentiment as represented by how the majority of the public feels on key issues. So there you have it, my friends. A huge reason why, as I discussed in my previous video, we have to abolish the Electoral College. Among other reasons, because the Supreme Court is in balance. The court that has the power to take away important protections of our voting rights, to take away women's reproductive freedom rights, and to essentially declare that the president is above the law. With this current court, we've seen the effects of a Supreme Court that's basically gone rogue. If we want to save our democracy, we simply can't go on like this much longer. Just think about what the court may do in the future to immigrants, to the LGBT community, to Americans of all colors who live in poverty, to Americans who live with disabilities, and to all other vulnerable American populations. It's frightening. So that's it for now, friends. If you like this video, please share it with your Facebook friends. Okay, bye for now.